Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to this morning's ceremony. I am Major Valentino Diaz. I am honored to be your Master of Ceremonies. We request all electronic devices be silenced at this time. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the retirement ceremony for Major General Brian M. Killough. Today, a grateful nation honors Major General Killough for 32 years, 3 months, and 26 days dedicated service to our country. The ceremony you will witness is deeply rooted in military tradition. As fellow Air Force comrades retire, we pause to recognize their contributions to the United States Air Force. Presiding over today's ceremony is the Commander of Pacific Air Forces, General Charles Q. Brown, Jr. At this time, we would like to welcome distinguished guests in our audience today. Major General Killough's wife, Sandy. His brother-in-law, Colonel Otis Hutchinson, United States Air Force retired. His friends, Doug and Mandy Tracy. Although they could not attend today's ceremony in person, we would also like to recognize Major General Killough's son, Killough, daughter, Gabby, son-in-law, John, as well as all extended family and friends watching online. We would also like to extend a special welcome to all general officers, headquarters PACAF directors and leaders, active duty, reserve, guard, industry, and civic partners in attendance today. Ladies and gentlemen, please stand for the arrival of the official party, and remain standing for the playing of musical honors, the singing of the national anthem, and the invocation.
Good morning. Brian and Sandy, thank you for the opportunity you've given me this morning. It is indeed an honor and privilege for me to be here today. Retirement is a very special occasion in every person's life. As we gather to honor Major General Brian Killough on his retirement, I invite you to take a few moments for your own prayer or reflection as I offer this invitation. Dear Heavenly Father, you are with us through all our days. Even in the times of change, you are still God, and we trust in you. I pray today for this dedicated and faithful airman as he retires from active duty. I come to you in thankfulness for his many years of service, and we thank you for the long-term contributions he has made in the execution of the mission, in his loyalty to the Air Force, and in the sharing of his experiences and wisdoms with others. We are thankful for Sandy and her selfless support of her husband for the past 30 years. She has been a mentor and friend to the many spouses she has met, seeking to make their journey successful. We pray you continue to bless them during this next phase of their life. May your presence be with them as they choose new paths and explore new horizons. And may they find many receptive hearts and minds for the wisdom they have to offer, and many recipients to receive their loving care. Today I leave them with this blessing from the book of Matthew. Well done, good and faithful servant. You have been faithful with a few things. I will put you in charge of many things. Come and share your master's happiness. Lord, bless all with strength, defend us from harm, preserve all that we hold dear, that we may continue to serve our nation and our world. In the name of your Son, Jesus, amen.
Amen.
Ladies and gentlemen, please be seated. Thank you, Ms. Maxino. Thank you, Colonel Hutchinson. Ladies and gentlemen, General Brown.
Well, aloha. Aloha. This is it's a great day for our Air Force, for our nation, and for the Killoughs. And but it's also bittersweet. And so first of all, let me say thanks to all those that are here in attendance. I'll start with something I came across here a number of years ago. And it was an email, one of these things that you subscribe to, and it talked about success. It said, success takes help, failure you can do alone. Success takes help, failure you can do alone. And so in order for the Killoughs to, and particularly for I'm going to call him Brian today, because Killough never really stuck with me based on, I'll tell you, I've always called him Killough for a reason, but he's going to be Brian here shortly when he takes off the uniform and goes into other aspects. But it's the people that around them that help get to where they are. And Otis, appreciate you being here. Doug and Mandy, thanks for being here. And then those that are online that could not be here. To Gabby and their son-in-law John, and to Caleb, and their other family and friends that are online, and all of you that are here in the room today. It's the impact that you have to help make them successful, because they don't do it alone. I'd also tell you that they got a really strong faith, and it's something that we've talked about, something I think we share, and the scripture that Otis just mentioned today is really applicable, because God plays a big role in our life, and with that, He helps with their success, to shelter them from some of the potential failures. And I think we all learn something from our various failures as we go forward. I'll tell you, when I do, when you get to this level I'm at, you have a chance to go to a lot of retirement ceremonies and officiate a few. I'll tell you, it's easier officiating than it is sitting in the audience. When I sit in the audience, it gives me a chance to reflect on the individuals that are leaving, but it also gives me a chance to reflect on my own experiences, and at some point I'm going to do the same thing. And I usually sit in the audience, and you'll probably see me with, got something in my eye kind of approach, and then maybe some of that happens today. I see there's Kleenexes postured in certain locations. But it's a day to celebrate, and you celebrate the fact that this is something they've done their entire adult lives. And they committed their lives to it, they've committed their family to it, and so we appreciate the work they've done to get where they are. So let me talk a little bit about Brian. And the reason why I'm going to, Killough doesn't really resonate with me, and I asked him a question how he got the call sign. It just kind of stuck with his last name of Killough. But with the faith that he has, just doesn't quite match. Unless he's killing all the bad, evil stuff that goes on, which he's had a chance to do. He's always wanted to fly since about 8 years old. And he went to NC State, graduated in 1987 through ROTC with a degree in aerospace engineering. And then as he came in the Air Force, we talked today and reminded me where they met that Sandy and Brian met at a blind date at a wedding. And so we're just sitting in the office, and I said, well, God will provide. And they've been together for 30 years, and through thick and thin. And so that's a key testament to their faith and how they've been able to work together. But as Brian, one of the things when I prepare for these, I want to see all their performance reports. And my staff goes, really? I go, yeah, I want to see all of them. And I actually go through and sit down and read through all the performance reports. And it's pretty interesting as I read through them, partly because I see names of folks I had a chance to serve with throughout their career. And I go, oh, you have to serve with the same folks that I had a chance to serve with. But you also get a sense of the individual. And I go back and look at one of his very first performance report. And it talked about his enthusiasm, resolve, and hard work. In his very first performance report as a lieutenant. I still see that enthusiasm, resolve, and hard work today. And it's all built into his character. And some things he's done throughout his Air Force career to make him successful and get him to the places he's been. They've had several different assignments. Being from North Carolina, going to Seymour Johnson isn't all bad. And then Seymour Johnson, Lake and Heath, Alaska, Maxwell several times, Pentagon several times, in New York City, on the Council on Foreign Relations. Then overseas, here in Hawaii, already talked about Lake and Heath. Spent some time in Iraq, and that's where I think the first time we crossed paths, primarily on VTCs. While he was sitting in Baghdad and I was sitting in Tampa at the CENTCOM headquarters, and doing some good work there. One of the things I found as he progressed is just the excellence he's had throughout his career. And as you look at his performance reports, and one thing I do notice about his performance reports, which I also reflect on mine, back in the day, stratification wasn't that big of a deal. Matter of fact, you didn't get stratified very often in your stratification in your OPRs, in your performance reports, and they weren't written in bullets. They were written in a narrative form to tell a story to the folks that were going to look at your record. And there's something to be said for that. It really resonated for Brian. There's a couple things that I will highlight. He was a distinguished graduate from undergraduate navigator training, distinguished graduate at Squadron Officer School, top performer in the top 30% at Air Command and Staff College, top 4% of the Air War College when he went through, below the zone to major, below the zone to lieutenant colonel, and then all the way up to a 2-star. And the fact that when he was at the Maxwell as the Air Base Wing Commander, not once, but twice, he was rated the #1 colonel in Air University. But the denominator was in triple digits, 133 the first time, 177 the second time. And that says something about his work ethic and the things he's been able to do. The other thing that I admire about him is that he is actually is a combat leader. And the fact that he actually has served from Desert Shield all the way up to Iraqi freedom. There's about 8 or 9 different campaigns he's been in. It wasn't until I was a lieutenant colonel that I got that big fat 0 off my flight record to get to combat time. He had a distinguished flying cross as a captain from Desert Storm, and 10 Air Medals to go with it. And so you've seen it, seen pretty much a little bit of everything. The thing I'd highlight is him being here at PACAF. And it was kind of nice when we came in here to PACAF for Shereen and I, that Brian was somebody that I knew, but we had not met Sandy yet. And I'll tell you, they're an outstanding team. For us coming in here, I've transitioned to a lot of different jobs. This was, maybe it's because, I'm not sure if it was because of the rank, but I really want to say it's because of the Killoughs. Because they had a key role in bringing us in here for the assumption of command, getting us bedded down, getting us set up, and it went so smooth. And it's a testament to the entire team. I will also tell you the work he did, because this command had actually come off a pretty tough time doing all the Korea work, so they were running pretty hard. And I think one of the things with Brian, with how even keeled he is, was able to get things kind of calm down. As I say, people breathing through their nose, relax a little bit more, and we're able to focus as we started to transition, particularly after the National Defense Strategy came out. And so he's been really good, not only as a chief of staff, to get the staff to do the things we need to do to evolve, but also as a deputy commander. And I think the thing I would highlight is the fact that when I asked, hey, do you mind sticking around and moving chairs, and actually not just chairs, but moving houses as well, and then taking on a new role as a deputy commander. And I will tell you, having been a deputy commander a couple of times, it's not as fun as being a commander. And I think you can attest to that, having had the chance to do both. But he did some really heavy lifting for us, particularly when you start looking with Headquarters Air Force and the work there. We talk about agile combat employment and the things that we were trying to do as a command. Put a lot on Brian's shoulders, and he delivered. And I really do appreciate the hard work there and all the other things you did. And as we talked the other day, the early morning VTCs, because sometimes on the East Coast they forget the fact that we out here like to sleep sometimes, and we don't like getting up at 2 in the morning just to come to listen to folks on the air staff, and then they don't push the slides, and we don't know what's going on, and you know how that goes. But we really do appreciate that. And so as you start to make the transition, we had our farewell the other night, and you may have noticed as you walked in there was a I don't know what you call it. Just taking it across the door there, and it said one of the decorations. There's a more formal name for it. I'll do it come to me later. But it said, "Goodbye tension, hello pension." And so, I mean, they are going to get a chance to walk away here in a few days, and there will be probably less tension of this type, but there'll be probably some other things they're going to have to deal with, and that's just all part of life. You will get a pension out of it, though, which is not all bad, and you'll have a chance to sit around and do nothing. I like sharing a story. It was a guy that I worked with when I was at CENTCOM, and I ran into him after he retired at the commissary, and I said, "Well, how are you doing? How are things going?" And he said, "Well, my wife's getting a little frustrated because I'm still, kind of hanging around. So there'll be a time where you're going to need to find something to do." And he said, his wife says, what are you going to do today? And he goes, "Nothing." He goes, "Well, why is that?" "Well, I didn't finish yesterday." So you will have some time to do nothing. But at some point, I think Sandy's going to tell you need to find something to do. And so, in any case, we both, Shereen and I think the entire command would say the same. We want to wish both of you the very best. You've had an outstanding career, and like we talked about, we want to stay in touch with you. And you've got a great foundation in faith, and I really admire that. We want to wish you all the best to both of you.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Thank you, General Brown. Ladies and gentlemen, please stand as General Brown presents Major General Killough with the distinguished service.
Publish the order.
Attention orders. The President of the United States of America, authorized by Act of Congress, July 9, 1918, awards the Distinguished Service Medal, 1st Oak Leaf Cluster, to Major General Brian M. Killough for exceptionally meritorious service in duties of great responsibility. General Killough distinguished himself as Chief of Staff and Deputy Commander, Pacific Air Forces, Joint Base Pearl Harbor, Hickam, Hawaii, from 16 April 2018 to 31 May 2020. During this period, General Killough's tireless efforts and dynamic leadership helped the commander guide more than 46,000 airmen operating over 300 aircraft at 10 wings and 9 forward bases, accomplishing United States Indo-Pacific Command's mission in a region that encompasses more than 1/2 of the Earth's surface, 2/3 of the world's population, more than half the world's gross domestic product, and 44% of all global trade. He improved theater security cooperation by chairing 25 multilateral engagements with key leaders representing militaries from 9 nations in theater. General Killough guided the Headquarters Pacific Air Force's efforts in mutual cooperation program discussions, resulting in historic diplomatic summits and posturing today's warfighting air component for United States Indo-Pacific Command. He ensured Headquarters Pacific Air Forces remained steadfast in its responsibilities, providing persistent and enduring homeland defense for Hawaii and Guam, while simultaneously engaging with service components, United States interagencies, and Pacific allies and partners to support a robust multilateral annual exercise program. By maturing processes, streamlining the staff's battle rhythm, and aligning United States Indo-Pacific Command components and Headquarters Air Force priorities, General Killough led Pacific Air Force's Agile Combat Employment Initiative and established the standard that set the pace for Headquarters Air Force and cross-major command Agile Combat Employment efforts worldwide. The singularly distinctive accomplishments of General Killough culminate a long and distinguished career in the service of his country and reflect the highest credit upon himself and the United States Air Force. Thank you, sir. Ladies and gentlemen, please remain standing for the retirement order.
Publish the order.
Attention to orders. Department of the Air Force, Washington, D.C., Special Orders Number 000005, Major General Brian M. Killough, Joint Base Pearl Harbor, Hickam, Hawaii, effective 31 May 2020. You are relieved from active duty, organization, and station of assignment. You are retired effective 1 June 2020 for Air Force Instruction 36-3203 in the grade of Major General by order of the Secretary of the Air Force.
Clapping because you're proud or clapping because it's done and I'm gone? Just saying.
Thank you. Please be seated. Major General Killough will now be presented with a certificate of retirement from the Chief of Staff of the United States Air Force, and letters of appreciation from the Secretary of the Air Force and the Commander-in-Chief, President Donald Trump. Certificate of retirement from the Armed Forces of the United States of America. To all who shall see these presents, greeting. This is to certify that Major General Brian Killough, having served faithfully and honorably, is retired from the United States Air Force on the first day of June 2020. Signed, General David L. Goldfein, Chief of Staff, United States Air Force. From the Office of the Secretary of the Air Force, General Killough, please accept my sincere appreciation for your 32 years of devoted service to our Air Force and the nation. The sacrifices you and your family have made in the pursuit of this demanding profession are a tribute to your character and patriotism. Looking back on your extraordinary career, we are forever grateful for the dedication and leadership you demonstrated defending our great country and promoting democracy and freedom throughout the world. From your early years as an F-15E navigator to your position as the Deputy Commander of Pacific Air Forces, you can reflect with great pride and satisfaction on your distinguished military career and your vast contributions in the Air Force. I wish you and Sandy the very best in the years ahead. Signed, Barbara Barrett, Secretary of the Air Force. From the Office of the President, for service in the Armed Forces of the United States of America, Major General Brian Killough, I extend to you my personal thanks and the sincere appreciation of our grateful nation for your contribution of honorable service to our country. You have helped maintain the security of the nation during a critical time in its history with a devotion to duty and spirit of sacrifice in keeping with the proud traditions of the military service. I trust that in the coming years you will maintain an active interest in the armed forces and the purpose for which you serve. Those who follow in your footsteps will draw inspiration from your commitment, dedication, and sacrifices made to ensure the protection of our American freedoms. My best wishes to you for happiness and success in the future. Signed, Donald Trump, Commander-in-Chief. Additionally, Major General Killough has received numerous presidential letters of congratulations, which will be displayed on the KCR lanai. Every retiree receives a special retirement pin as a memento of their active duty service. At this time, we would like to invite Mrs. Killough to please come forward and place the pin on Major General Killough's lapel to symbolize his transition from active duty to retired status. To recognize Mrs. Killough with a certificate of appreciation from General David L. Goldfein, Chief of Staff, United States Air Force. In grateful appreciation, the United States Air Force presents this certificate of recognition to Mrs. Sandra Killough for her commitment and numerous contributions that made positive impacts to the nation's defense. Thank you for the support which gave strength and purpose to your spouse's service. Thank you, General. Thank you, General Brown and Mrs. Killough. You may take your seats. At this time, I'd like to go off script for a moment to read a special letter addressed to Major General and Mrs. Killough. Brian and Sandy, Sarah and I wish we could be there on this special day. To say we are family only begins to describe our relationship. A previous commander of mine once said during his change of command, the bond between a commander and a first sergeant is a special one. Those words certainly are appropriate today. Our ride is long from over, but today marks an exciting new chapter in all our lives. Since early 2003, on a deployment in a land far away, our lives have been inextricably linked. We have enjoyed great times and made lasting memories. One of our earliest memories is Sandy's flawless execution of a change of command party, which perfectly matching plates and napkins and such. That may have been the day she began to tolerate the first sergeant. Unforgettable promotion ceremonies at various locations have always been fun. Perfectly adorned eagles on a newly promoted colonel's lapel, and another was somewhat professionally catered by Bart and Frank's barbecue, complete with libations from the Virginia mountains that were a big hit for the family. Right, Otis?
It'll be a night I'll remember.
Sandy has always admired my complicated barbecue sauce and its myriad of secret ingredients. Gabby was a beautiful bride, and John is a lucky dude. Caleb has been successful in the fall woods and can quickly develop an airport transportation plan when Uncle Frank's scheduling is less than optimal. To continue to be a part of your lives is a blessing. I love y'all. Now, he said you'd be shocked with this, Sandy, but he recently attended a men's prayer advance. There were a couple lines from the event I think appropriate to share. One speaker conveyed, God wants us to lead our families and lead in life. Another speaker detailed God's direction to honor and cherish your wife. I know of no one that epitomizes those traits more than Brian Killough. To say Brian has positively inspired my life and the lives of countless others is an understatement. I personally witnessed your caring, compassion, and leadership behind the scenes, doing what was right even when no one else was looking. Your positive example did not go unnoticed by those around you. General, it has been an honor and a privilege to be your first sergeant. For my family to be your family and to have served our great nation as one of your wingmen. You selflessly served the nation and have faithfully served God and your family. As another great general named Pat once said, if a man does his best, what else is there? Sarah, the cabin rats, and I look forward to what's next, future adventures, and a cold adult beverage. May God continue to bless, keep, and guide the Killough family with the greatest respect and a touch of humor. Your first sergeant.
Thanks, sir.
At this time, the Base Honor Guard will come forward for the flag folding presentation. This retirement flag that will be presented to General Killough has been flown in the headquarters Pacific Air Force's Courtyard of Heroes from May 2019 to February 2020. For more than 200 years, the American flag has been the symbol of our nation's unity, as well as a source of pride and inspiration for millions of citizens. Born on June 14, 1777, the Second Continental Congress determined that the flag of the United States be 13 stripes, alternating between 7 red and 6 white, and that the Union be 13 stars, white in a blue field representing a new constellation. Between 1777 and 1960, the shape and design of the flag evolved into the flag presented before you today. The 13 horizontal stripes represent the original 13 colonies, while the stars represent the 50 states of the Union. Colors of the flag are symbolic as well. Red symbolizes hardiness and valor. White signifies purity and innocence, and blue represents vigilance, perseverance, and justice. Traditionally a symbol of liberty, the American flag has carried the message of freedom and inspired Americans both at home and abroad. In 1814, Francis Scott Key was so moved at seeing the Stars and Stripes waving after the British shelling of Baltimore's Fort McHenry that he wrote the words to the Star-Spangled Banner. In 1892, the flag inspired Francis Bellamy to write the Pledge of Allegiance, our most famous salute and patriotic oath. Today, in July 1969, the American flag was flown in space when Neil Armstrong planted it on the moon's surface. Today, our flag flies on constellations of Air Force satellites that circle our globe, and on the thin flash of our aircraft in harm's way in every corner of the world. Indeed, it flies in the heart of every airman who serves our great nation. The sun never sets on our U.S. Air Force, nor on the flag we so proudly cherish. Since 1776, no generations of Americans has been spared the responsibility of defending freedom. Today's airmen remain committed to preserving the freedom that others won for us for generations to come. By displaying the flag and giving it a distinctive fold, we show respect for the flag and express our gratitude to those individuals who fought and continue to fight for freedom at home and abroad. Since the dawn of the 20th century, airmen have proudly flown the flag in every major conflict on lands and skies around the world. It is their responsibility, our responsibility, to continue to protect and preserve the rights, privileges, and freedoms that we as Americans enjoy today. The United States flag represents who we are. It stands for the freedom we all share and the pride and patriotism we feel for our country. We cherish its legacy as a beacon of hope to one and all. Long may it wave.
Major General Brian Killough, on behalf of the Pacific Air Force, your friends, and your family, I present this flag in recognition of your 32 years of faithful service with the United States Air Force. Thank you.
Sir, at this time, on behalf of the PACAF staff, I want to take this opportunity to present you with a memento remembering your time here as the Chief of Staff and the Deputy Commander. It has truly been an honor to work for and with you during your time here. It reads, from Headquarters PACAF, thank you for your support and leadership. What you leave behind is not what is engraved in stone monuments, but what is woven into the lives of others. Paraphrase.
Thank you.
Ladies and gentlemen, it is my privilege to present to you Major General Brian M. Killough, United States Air Force, retired.
tell, so I have to have some props. Excuse me for putting a drink up here on the table. First of all, thank you so much. It's such an honor. She's always got my back, no matter what. Wow, what a big day! We're incredibly honored to be here and to have been able to take this journey together. And I just want to say thanks. So I'm going to start out with a lot of thank yous, and I'll try to get them, move through them quickly, and stay on timeline and get you out of here in the next hour and a half. But seriously, first of all, I'd like to thank God. I do nothing on my own. I deserve nothing on my own, and I accomplish nothing on my own. And so it's only through His strength and His gifts that we got there. So thank you. Sandy, I'm going to thank you more later, and I'm not going to look at you because if I do that, I won't get through the rest of this. So I'll get to that at the end, okay? Thank you to Gabby and Caleb and John out there. Thank you for taking time out of your work to watch this live stream. And Caleb, I know you're skipping Chinese class. It's okay this one time. Thank you. Jim Brown, sir, thanks for officiating. Ms. Shireen, thank you for being here. I know that you guys have a busy schedule getting on the road again tomorrow, and it means a lot to us, and your friendship has been key over the last year, and we really appreciate it. Thank you so much. Fellow general officers, flag officers, civic leaders, teammates, spouses, friends, thank you for being here. It means the world to me. Thanks to my extended family out there on the live stream, let's see if I can get all these right. Jason, Nellie, Kyle, and Val, Susie, Debbie, Steve, all the nieces and nephews. I won't go through that list, but thank you for tuning in. I appreciate it. And to my brothers, step-parents, John and Barbara, who have been parents to me, thank you. Thanks to our friends for their support, Doug and Mandy. Thank you guys in from San Francisco and Texas, made the trip. Doug said it wasn't hard to twist Mandy's arm to get her to go to Hawaii for a weekend. Frank and Sarah, thank you again. Scott and Diane, Karen and John, so many more. Our church family, got a church family in the house. Thank you so much for being here. I really appreciate you. This doesn't happen on its own, and so I have to add my thanks to the protocol, to the honor guard, to Miss Maxino. What a wonderful rendition of the national anthem that was. Thank you so much. To the Defense Media Agency who made live streaming possible. Thank you guys. I really appreciate it. They came through, and they came in a week ago to set this up to make sure that it was going to work right. I see you over there, Mary. Thank you for being here. Teammate from Tripler up there and friend for a long time now. Really appreciate you and Joe. Unconventionally, I'm going to give out a few gifts now as I go along so I don't forget them. To my superior office staffs, not only as chief staff but also as the DCOM. So Tina, you're going to have to come up this way. Thanks for being a fantastic team. Thank you very much. I really appreciate you. Corday, where are you at? Oh, okay. Kayleen? Come on. Get back on script. Start deviating, it'll be bad. Yeah. Otis is not going to help you today. Maybe I'll help you later on.
Oh, you're mean.
And now I'm going to take the opportunity to say some thanks to some folks that don't get recognized very often. They're the picture of humility. They make our lives better on a daily basis. And they're so humble. Miss Wilma, are you here? Miss Wilma? She's not here. Miss Wilma is one of our custodial staff, and she takes care of us. She's always incredibly humble. She's a supervisor now, so maybe that's why she's not here today. But she brings in pants at Bihan and Olympia and shares out of her own to make our lives better. And so I'd like to say thanks to her. Miss Fong. You have to come up. Come on. Miss Fong is our barber. And Miss Fong is she is always so cheerful. She always has a spirit of just thankfulness. And if she wasn't here, then think of how many man hours we would lose going to the BX or off base to get our hair cut. And she does such a fantastic job, and you're always so humble. So I wanted to say thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Miss Selly. Are you around? Come on up, Miss Selly. Come on. Miss Selly runs a couple of the food court vendors there, Subway and Charlie's, right? You help run both of those?
No.
Come on.
Twice before this.
And
Thank you, sir.
she's always there with a smile, and
Yes,
she's
thank
become
you.
our friend over the last year.
Thank you.
And so thank you so much for
Thank you,
everything
sir.
And finally, Emmy, are you here? Yeah, come on up, Emmy. Because for her and the building team, they take care of a facility that is a nonstop headache. And they keep it running in a 21st century technology on a 20th century building. So we appreciate you and we love you. Thank you so much. All right, I'll get back to that in a minute. So thankful for so many opportunities along the way. The boss touched on a few of them. Like a lot of airmen, the Air Force offered me a way out of a small town to college, and I got to do that. But as he said, I felt the calling to be an Air Force aviator since I was 8, and really feel that it is a calling to be in the service. And so I do appreciate all of you that are here that are continuing to serve. 38 combat sorties in Desert Storm with Jeff Mays. We were the only first lieutenant crew in the Strike Eagle at the time. So to be able to do that together and live through it, mostly through God's grace, not our skills, but really unbelievable opportunities. Stationed deployed all over the world, as the boss says. 3 ops tours in the Strike Eagle, which doesn't seem like that big a deal anymore, but it was back then to get more than 2. Was pretty fantastic. I had a vice commander job as the vice wing commander at Randolph, where I got to teach young students in both the T-43 and AT-38, which was an unbelievable opportunity to be there with the youth and the energy that they bring. I got to command the 4th OSS, as my former shirt said, or he's always my shirt. At Seymour Johnson, and then the 42nd Air Base Wing at Maxwell Air Force Base, which still is the best hometown in the Air Force, by the way. I got an incredible education, both formal and informal. I had Pentagon tours, 3 of them, that made a real difference. Loved the people I worked with, hated the area, but loved the people I worked with. And of course, finishing here in the Priority Theater with the Priority Air Component, doing what our nation needs and is desperate for right now. But most importantly, the Air Force introduced me to my wife, therefore to my kids. So I'm incredibly thankful for the opportunities. And there were so many inspirations along the way, and that's where I'll get to my show and tell. This lady, Margaret Ellis, Sandy's Nan, I'll try to keep this together here. Nan was a remarkable lady. She was an orphan. She grew up through a tough situation in Wales, and she became a nurse. She joined the Royal Army. She was caught behind enemy lines at Dunkirk and had to E&E her way through Belgium to get back to the UK. She served all through the end of World War II there on the home front. She took care of German prisoners. They called her Sister Spitfire because she was all of about 4'10" on a good day. And she embodied service. Her husband was Royal Air Force, Sandy's grandfather. He was in North Africa. They didn't see each other for 3 years. So we complained about 6 months. Just an inspiration. We have great mentors and friends along the way. Colonel Michael and Nancy Smith from Lakenheath. Time did a great job of taking a knucklehead captain and trying to teach him what it meant to be a husband, a father. And then you've heard Frank's story. Frank was my first sergeant at Seymour Johnson, and as I will tell every ALS NCO Academy class, first shirt academy, he taught me more about leadership than any formal course ever did. So if you got a good one, keep them. At this next show and tell at Randolph, this guy, he would always show up in the bar on Friday afternoons. He was an older gentleman. He just wanted to have a beer, hang out with the young aviators, get a little of that energy back. And you started to learn his story. His name was Ralph Parr. And Ralph flew combat in 3 wars. He was World War II, Korea, Vietnam. Vietnam, he had a Distinguished Service Cross for taking care of medevac helicopters with his F-4 doing close air support, what we call close air support now, FACA or whatever he was doing then. I think there were 20-something holes in his airplane when he got back. They tried the Marine recon guy down on the ground kept trying to wave him off, and he wouldn't leave. Anyway, besides that, before he did that, he had 10 Distinguished Flying Crosses. He had over 40 air medals, 6,000 hours in fighters, just unbelievable. And he was the most humble man I ever met. So it was just a real joy to get to know him there at Randolph. And now Brigadier General McGee, of course, with the Tuskegee Airmen there at Montgomery, and the paths that they paved for our nation were just incredible inspirations. The last one, Tech Sergeant Stephen Holland. Tech Sergeant Stephen Holland was a maintenance guy. He was not what we would call incredibly successful. I mean, he finished a 20-year career, but he had problems with his weight. He couldn't pass the PFT back at the end of his career. He was having real trouble with that. But he finished out his 20 years, and he moved his family back to Alabama. And so he got him a home, got him back to their church home, family around him. And then one night a tornado hit. And Sergeant Holland, well, he was still on terminal leave, actually. His last act was to shield his youngest daughter from the effects of the tornado. And so we serve alongside heroes every day. And so our inspirations are there if we look for them. All right, enough of that. Really quickly, I hear a lot of people say they don't have regrets. But I'll tell you, I do, and that's okay, because you learn from them, right? So, my regrets, I wish I'd had a closer, earlier walk with Christ. I wish I'd had more date nights with Sandy. I wish I'd had, I wish I'd have put down the paperwork and ignored the news reporters on a day in May of 1991. I wish I'd have gone to more volleyball games and done more father-daughter things with Cabby. I wish I'd have been to more games with my son, baseball or football or video. I wish I'd have gone to more, or been home for more birthdays and holidays and camping trips and learned to be a team player earlier. So to Gabby and Caleb, thank you for being on this journey with us and the sacrifices you made. You've taught me so much, and I look so forward to being on the next journey with you, and I'm so very proud of you. Thank you. So I saved the best for last, though. I saved the best for Sandy. You know, she has been my wife, my partner, my teammate, my wingman, my best friend for 30 years now, and she is the Proverbs 31 woman in my mind. And I'll paraphrase, you know, she's honest to a fault, she's loving, sometimes that means tough love, industrious, she's up early, stays up late, she's a provider, she's been a teacher, a counselor, a mentor, a chef. She's strong, physical, mental, emotional, spiritual. so many deployments, combat tours, TDYs that she's been through. She's done that for both my immediate family, our extended family, and I'll prove our Air Force family. So as an Air Force spouse, there's always heartbreaking parts, right? So she's been there with the babies in the NICU, which she'll say is the most peaceful part, or she was very peaceful there. She actually saved an airman from suicide. She's done ER visits with teen suicide attempts. She's been to numerous funerals, and she's been through combat and training losses of friends. But she also got to do fun and funny facts, right? So Sandy, if you don't know it, is a base crud champion. She's also a base softball champion. She threw revolutionary and epic kids parties at the squadron group and wing level that are renowned to this day. She is Santa's best elf. I'll tell you that. She's at numerous open houses and pohanas and birthdays and babies, and as those in the office know, treats just because. And she blesses us with those every so often whenever she can. And then there's the part that doesn't get talked about a whole lot, which is the professional part that she's done, but I want you to know about it. She's been mentoring airmen and families since 1995, and she makes people better people. She spent 3 years as a squadron commander spouse. She was the Air War College class president spouse, which meant for that year when everybody else was goofing, having the time to relax, she was hustling from meetings and doing things to take care of those families. Sandy and Teresa Miller and Marie Visco actually conceived of, developed, advocated for, and implemented the Wing Commander Spouses course that's still running today. She did that. It's true. As a Vice Wing Command spouse, she was a homeschool advocate and advocate for dependents. And I won't name who it was, but she took on a Chief of Staff of the Air Force's spouse over that and did it with grace and skill. When I was a wing commander, we did something called the Wing Leadership Training Orientation Course, and that was all Sandy's brainchild. And it was unbelievably successful and went around the command to be implemented across many bases in AETC. She, along with other spouses and dependents, advocated for Dodge School expansion at Maxwell when Dodge schools were closing and under immense financial burden from DODEA, and we actually expanded from just an elementary school to an elementary and middle school for our kids, and our base housing occupancy rate went from 81% to 100% in 6 months. As a GEO spouse, she formed a network of support for OSCI families while I was downrange for a year, so if they needed that support while we were in Baghdad, it was there. She's been involved in professional and charity organizations, everything from OSC to Military Child Education Coalition, and she's hosted Untold DVs and international dignitaries, and of course she's been the DCOM spouse here for the last 2 years. So, and all that, on top of that, she's suffered through, supported, and loved a very flawed and selfish husband for 30 years. So, Sandy, I just got a couple of things for appreciation for you. A little one. A little trinket. And then there's 30 roses for 30 years of Air Force service. I heard General Goldfein say at a retirement ceremony he was officiating that the most successful people that retire are those that are retiring to something and not from something. And I'll tell you that we are retiring to whatever God wants us to do next. We're retiring to our family. We're retiring to new adventures, Texas and Europe. You're first on the docket. And then we're retiring to continued service. And we look forward to continuing to serve. So to wrap it up, we're so very thankful for each and every one of you for the opportunity to serve this nation, this Air Force, and alongside you. We aren't going away. We'll still be involved in Airmen for Life. We'll definitely be praying for you, and you always have a place in Holly Killough. God bless America. God bless the U.S. Air Force, and most importantly, God bless each one of you. Thank you.
Thank you, Major General Killough. Ladies and gentlemen, the men and women of the United States Air Force are proud to have served with Major General Killough and assure him that he will always remain a valuable member of our Air Force family. This concludes our ceremony. On behalf of the Killough family, thank you for attending. Please stand and join General Killough in the singing of the Air Force song and the departure of the official party. The reception line will start outside on the lanai. Please join us there to congratulate and wish Major General Killough and his family success in their future endeavors.
All right, it's acapella, so I'll lead off, but you got to jump in. Off we go into the wild blue yonder, climbing high.